Orano felt a wisp of air on his arm and spun around in time to block the amateur wielding a switchblade. Grabbing the guy by his wrist, he pulled the attacker in and landed a clean right jab to his jaw. The next thug tripped over his fallen comrade, landing hard against Orano's chest. "Gun! By the dumpster!" Phoenix yelled. Orano jerked the clumsy gang member around and held him as a shield while stripping him of his blade. "Where?" he yelled. 30 feet down, 3 feet from the wall!" The newly acquired blade flew from Orano's hand, flipping end over end into the blackness. He heard a muted gunshot as his human shield slammed into his chest and became dead weight, collapsing to the ground. A low grunt from the direction of the dumpster followed a second later as the knife presumably hit its target. "I don't think they're after our wallets," Orano said. Phoenix held his extendable baton in his right hand and was in the process of cracking a skull as he answered, "They're after our heads, and they won't be stupid enough to come at us one at a time for much longer." As though to punctuate the statement, 3 inky figures emerged from the shadows. A quick glance to his left showed 3 more, with the possibility of others remaining hidden. "Can you call in some cover? There are a lot of people close by," Orano yelled. "Give me—" Phoenix pushed the latest victim of his expertly wielded baton to the ground. "A minute!" Orano looked over his shoulder at Gracie, who'd given up pounding on the door. Her eyes glistened in fear as they darted from one group of attackers to the next. So far, she'd been unhurt. Orano intended to keep it that way. "They're on their way," Phoenix said. "Tell them to hurry," Orano retorted, after kicking the switchblade-wielding amateur in the gut when he tried to get up and rejoin the fight. Before the words left his mouth, the rumble of hundreds of beating wings filled the air. Orano glanced upward, expecting to see stars, but was instead greeted by an undulating blanket of little feather-covered bodies, each weaving an intertwining pattern with the other. His partner had used his connection with the bird to call in the rest of its flock. "We're concealed," Phoenix said. "Get behind me," Orano turned to Gracie. "Cover your eyes," he commanded. "What? Why?" she asked. "Just do it!" He put as much authority into his voice as he could. When she complied, Orano shot his hands outward. The darkness was immediately replaced by a spreading flash of blinding light as Orano pushed a halo of electrical energy in an ever-growing arc around them. The ring of current slammed into the nearest assailants, igniting their central nervous systems until they collapsed, before continuing on its way to the next victims. When the radius of energy reached the far corners of the alley, Orano closed his hands into tight fists, cutting off the stream at its source. Darkness immediately enveloped them, this time even more complete, as their pupils had yet to dilate in compensation for the sudden lack of light. The raucous beating of wings slowly receded as their living camouflage dispersed into the night sky. "Is everyone all right?" Orano asked. "We're good," Phoenix answered. "I can't say the same for our clothes, though." Orano looked down and found not blood spattering his shirts and pants, but dozens of oily white bird droppings. "Really?" Phoenix shrugged his shoulders innocently. "It's a trade-off. What the hell was that?" Gracie took in the scene around them. As his eyes began to adjust, Orano understood the fear in her voice. Bodies littered the small alleyway, most still twitching from the jolt of electricity. "Don't worry, they're not dead. We just hit them with tasers," Phoenix said with his usual calm confidence, conveniently forgetting to mention the ones that probably were dead. Orano reached around her and pulled on the restaurant's door. As he'd expected, it opened easily. "You still want to leave?" he asked Phoenix. "Hell no. This just got fun."